I'm Keith Busse, co-founder, chairman, and CEO of Steel Dynamics. We began operations in Butler, Indiana, with one greenfield mini mill in the year 1996. We now have 5 mills in 3 states with over 6,000 employees dedicated to steelmaking and recycling. We produce flat-rolled steel, special bar quality steels, rebar, rail, structurals, and we gather, process, and distribute scrap. We recently began producing pig iron from iron ore oxide at our Mesabi Nugget plant in Hoyt Lakes, Minnesota, and will soon begin a joint venture with a Spanish entity to produce copper rod. Thank you for inviting me to discuss a paramount issue for U.S. manufacturers, specifically our trade laws and the proper enforcement of existing dumping orders. Testimony this morning from Customs and Border Protection, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, Commerce, and the Government Accounting Office showed that much work remains to ensure that custom fraud ends. Our expansion and continued investment in new technologies, products, and employment in the United States faces one major headwind: China. The Chinese government has subsidized a steel industry with 800 million tons of capacity and only 675 million tons of domestic demand. The 125 million tons of excess capacity is pouring onto world markets as China is the world's largest steel exporter. This exists because the Chinese government manipulates the value of its currency to provide export subsidies. The United States should address this issue immediately because it is costing us millions of jobs. However, I know that this is not the subject of today's hearing. In 2000, SDI and others obtained anti-dumping duties on imports of hot-rolled steel from China. In the past few years, many of our most important customer groups, including the pipe and tube industry, wire products producers, and steel wheel producers, have won AD and countervailing duty CVD orders against China or are now seeking them. But a new industry has sprung up in China to evade duties by creating false country of origin documents and transshipping of Chinese products through third countries. Customs' present inability to stop this massive invasion is harming us and the American worker. I would like to offer 3 recommendations to you. First, Congress has to ensure that the Department of Homeland Security is accountable for investigating and determining whether AD and CVD duties are being evaded. Both the Commerce Department and the U.S. International Trade Commission have statutory timelines in place that require them to publish results. I understand that no similar rules apply to customs investigations of allegations of duty evasion. Therefore, I would urge you to support the bipartisan efforts of Senators Wyden and Snowe and their colleagues to establish a new statutory system to initiate, investigate, and reach conclusions about duty evasion within a defined time frame. Second, and this is where this subcommittee has a direct impact, clearly Homeland Security will need separate funding through appropriations for establishing an office to process administrative protective orders and additional personnel to investigate duty evasion and collect AV and CVD duties. These expenditures will pay for themselves as millions of dollars of duties are recouped through collections by CBP. If these duties are collected, then U.S. producers will finally receive the relief intended from the imposition of duties under U.S. law. This will improve conditions for manufacturers who will re-enlist workers and contribute to economic recovery in communities throughout the country. Third, I understand that when textile quotas were put in effect, Customs had production verification teams that would go to foreign countries to investigate whether clothing was made in the factories they were alleged to be made in or they were in fact Chinese. The same thing should now be done with AD and CVD orders, since importers claim the imports are from Malaysia, Vietnam, Taiwan, Hong Kong, Turkey, you name it. Even though these products are made in China. Evidently, the State Department would have to work out MOUs, memorandums of understanding, with countries to allow these production verification teams to do their work. But I would emphasize that this would be an important step in intervention. Let me conclude by telling you that our board is considering an investment of $1.5 billion in a new greenfield mini mill to make flat-rolled steel, primarily for tube and line pipe, mainly used to drill and transport oil and gas from new shale drilling sites around the country. This could create thousands of new jobs, but we need your help to stop the Chinese invasion of AD and CVD orders on these products. America must be prepared to secure the integrity of our ports. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for the raising the issue of production inspection teams. We're going to focus on that, and I'll have a few questions to you all and also the previous panel. Mr. Adams?
Good morning, Madam Chairman, Ranking Member Coates. Thank you so much for this opportunity. As President of the Offshore Marine Service Association, I'm pleased to testify